Hello everybody, it's Tyler, or Mr. Hernandez again, and I wanted to bring you another video on OBS Screencasting because I left a couple key things out yesterday, and I'd really like to get you guys up and running, make sure you know everything you need to know before you get started to give you the best chance of success. So today I want to show you specifically how you get your videos to YouTube, how to add your webcam to your screen and make your screen look nicer. As you can see, I have a much more polished looking landing screen here, and I'm going to show you a little bit about hotkeys to make your life a bit easier. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is how to upload to YouTube. So in order to do that, I'm going to switch views so you can see my desktop here, and I'm going to go ahead and open Chrome, and I already am here, so let's go back. In order to get to your YouTube channel, you're going to navigate to YouTube. So just type in, youtube.com. It's going to take you to your home screen. And to get to your channel, you're going to click on this letter up here in the top right corner. For me, it's a T because my name is Tyler. As long as you're logged in with your Google account, this should show up because I believe Google does own YouTube, or they're the same parent company or whatever it is. So you'll just click on this letter here, and you're going to go down to your channel and go ahead and click that. It's going to take you to this screen that's going to show you your channel and all the videos you've ever uploaded. It's probably blank for you right now, but as you can see, I've used this several times to upload videos from my engineering classes. So I have some videos here, but that's kind of unimportant for us right now. What we want to do is go to YouTube Studio here. So let's go ahead and click on YouTube Studio. And this is where we're going to go to manage our channel, and this is where we go to add videos to YouTube. So what we want to do is add a video. In order to do that, we're going to go to the top right here where it says create, and we're going to click on that and go down to upload video so that we can select a file we've pre-recorded and add it to YouTube. Then we're going to go to select file. This should by default navigate you to the correct place. For me, it did not. So it will probably take you down under quick access to videos, and that's where your videos are typically going to show up, and that's where it should navigate you. Mine didn't, so if you don't get to the right place, just go under quick access and go to videos. And then we're going to go ahead and select a clip. I uploaded some clips earlier to test, so I'm going to select one of these test clips, hit open. It's going to take a second to get going here, and then you can give your video a title. So I'm going to go ahead and call it sample clip. Give it a description. Now you don't have to give your video a description. It does help your students know what your video is about, and maybe if they need to kind of go back through videos that you've had before and figure out which one has the relevant information, it will help them a lot with that. In addition, if you make your video public, it will allow people to search for keywords. This does affect the search algorithm, so if you put something in here and your video is public, you're more likely for other people to see it. You may or may not want that, so I'll leave it up to you. I'm just going to put sample here, and then I'm going to go ahead and select a thumbnail. Now, YouTube will automatically generate some thumbnails from screenshots of your video. You can use those, or you can upload a thumbnail that you've already made. Perhaps you've got an image that you want to use. For me, I'm just going to go ahead and select an image of the Oaks Christian crest because I don't really have anything else to use, but you could select one of these screenshots from your video as well. That's totally fine. Wow, I kind of look derpy there. All right. Scrolling down, YouTube will ask you if your video is made for kids or not. I think this is to protect little ones. So I don't believe this applies to us technically. We are teachers, so we are making videos for students, but our students are older. They're not little kids. So I'm going to go ahead and select no just to be safe. And then we're going to hit next. Oops, I went too far, too fast. So let's go back to details. I'm going to hit next. Then it's going to take you here to this video elements, and you can add cards and stuff if you'd like to, if you're advanced in YouTube. I don't do this. I just hit next. Now, before we publish, it's going to give us a couple options. If we want to make our video public, you can make your video public. I don't mind mine being public, so I'm going to go ahead and make mine public. You could, however, set it as unlisted so that people can access it, but you can't search for it, or you can make it private such that it can only be found if you have a direct link to the video. So many of you, I think, will either make your videos unlisted or private and just share your links with your students but I'm going to go ahead and make mine public so that people can see this and get help using OBS Studio if they'd like. After that, all you do is hit publish, and then it's going to take a while to compress and upload your video. So it's going to be, maybe 30 minutes or so, depending on how long your video is, before you can actually share it with your students and they can view it. It does generate a link for you right away. However, again, your students won't be able to use this until your video has had some time to get up onto the cloud. So wait about 30-45 minutes and you're good. Now you don't have to wait while this is going on. You can hit close, and if you go to videos on your dashboard, you can see the videos that you've got going on. Mine was only a 10-second video, so it's already finished uploading. But if you've got a 15 or 20-minute video, it's going to take a while for YouTube to compress and then upload the video. So it'll show that it's in progress, and you'll be able to tell when it's done because it won't show any sort of progress bar or meter here anymore. So that's how you specifically get a video that you've already made up to YouTube. Let's go back to OBS Studio now and see if we can't make our OBS look a little bit nicer, kind of like I've got going on here. I've got my webcam showing, I have a border around my picture, I added some images, I have this really cool animated background going on, and I added some text with today's agenda. And this is how I'm going to start my screencasts for my students. It's going to show my face, and it's going to show what we're going to be covering in that screencast, so that if they need to and they are not sure, they can go back, look at the first couple seconds of a video and figure out what we did during that video. So I'm going to show you how to do a lot of these features, or how to add a lot of these features from having that blank screen we had last time. So I'm going to navigate to my blank desktop, and this is what I showed you how to make last time, where we have a display capture and an audio input capture, and that's about it. Now the first thing I'm going to want to do is add my webcam so my students can see me. In order to do that, we're going to add another source. So I'm going to hit add a video capture device, and you're going to want to create a new one. For me, I've already done this, so it's already showing mine here, and I would just select the existing one. But all you would do is hit OK, and then you would select the webcam that you've got. This is probably going to be either your laptop webcam or a separate webcam if you purchased one like I did. So you'll just select that webcam and hit OK. Now, I already have one set up, so I'm actually going to use the one I have set up. So I'm just going to go to Add, Video Capture Device, Add Existing, and I'm going to select the existing one. And then it's going to show up on the screen. Now, typically you'll want your picture to be somewhere in a corner, and this will snap to the corners. I like having it in the bottom right corner. You might prefer somewhere else. And I like to be a little bit smaller than this. So I'm going to make it a bit smaller so that I'm not, my face isn't huge plastered all over the screen. So I'm going to put it down here in the right corner. And already this is better, but it would be really nice if there was a border around my webcam so that was kind of delineated from the rest of the screen. It just looks more polished, more professional. So in order to do that, we need to add yet another source. And the common theme here is if you want to put something onto the screen, you're going to add it as a source. So I'm going to hit plus under sources. And in order to add that border around my picture, I'm actually just going to add what's called a color source. I'm just going to add a box to this screen. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. I have some existing ones that I've used, but I'm going to go through the process with you. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Create New, hit OK, and then you would select your color by going to Select Color here. I chose this red because it kind of looks like the Oaks Christian red, and hit OK. And then it shows the color. You hit OK, you'll have a box on the screen. And I want this to be around my webcam. So I'm actually going to drag it over to where my webcam is. And it's on top of my face. And the reason is that this is the topmost layer of objects or sources on my screen. If you go over to sources here, whatever shows on top will be on top of everything else. So if I want my video capture to be on top of this red box, I just need to move it up a layer. I can do that two ways. I can click it and drag it where I want it to go, so I could drag it to the top, or I can use these arrows to change the layer that something's on. So if I wanted to move it down a layer, I can move it down with this down arrow, and if I wanted to move it up a layer, I could move it up with this up arrow. So now it's a box behind my picture, but it's not scaled right. So I'm going to go ahead and use the little square in the corner to scale it how I would like. And then you could move it down off screen like that. Anything that's hanging off won't actually show up, so it doesn't make a difference. Or if you're like me and you want to do it the correct way, you'll hold Alt and you'll crop it until it's the right size. And as you can see, mine's a little uneven. What you can actually do is select it, and you can move it 1 pixel at a time using your arrow keys. So I'm going to go down a couple times, and that looks a little more even, not quite there yet. There we go. Now we're looking much more even. I think I need to go over 1. So now we've moved it, fine adjusted it right where we want it, and actually I don't have it in the right spot. It's not quite big enough. There we go. So now I've got a border around my webcam so my students can see me, you know, in all my glory here. They can see what's on my screen, and I can kind of point at things on my screen. But if you see, I'm pointing to what I think should be the left of my screen, but I'm pointing to the right. What we need to do is flip our screen or our webcam so that it's mirrored. That way it actually shows what you want it to show. In order to do that, you're going to go to your video capture device. You're going to right click on it, go to transform, and you're going to flip horizontal. That's going to mirror our webcam. Now if I point to the left of my screen here, I'm actually pointing to the left. It's going to be much easier for me to kind of direct my students' attention to where I want them to look when I have it flipped like this. You may like that, you may not, it's up to you, but I prefer my video to be flipped horizontally like this. Okay, so we've added a video source, we've added a color source to use as a background. You may also want to add text to your screen, just like I did to my landing screen, so that I could, you know, communicate to my students what we're doing that day. In order to do that, you're going to go to the plus and just add text. I'm going to create a new text, hit OK, and then you can type whatever you want to type. You know, this is sample text, and then you can go to select font and choose what font you want that to be. I quite like Bank Gothic, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Bank Gothic and hit OK, but you can also select what size it is. Typically these fonts need to be a lot bigger than you think they do, so I'm just going to go ahead and select 72 and hit OK. Then if you scroll down, you can change the color of your font. So if you want your font to be, I don't know, some radioactive green color or something, you could select that and hit OK. Hit OK, and your text shows up on the screen, and you can drag it wherever you'd like. You can scale it so it's bigger or smaller. So you can use this to communicate to your students, or have some sort of label or something on your video, whatever it is that you want to do. I'm going to be using it to communicate agenda items to my students. Another thing you may wish to do is add an image to your screen. In order to do that, we're going to go to our sources yet again, hit the plus, and we're going to go ahead and add an image. I'm going to create new, and then now you can browse and figure out whatever images you have on your computer that you'd like to use. I downloaded the Oaks Christian logo and the Oaks Christian crest so that I could put those on my videos. And it's very important that these are PNGs, because PNGs don't have background, so it only will show the OC. It's not going to show all this white space behind it. So I can select the OC here, hit OK, and now I've got a big giant OC on my screen. It's a little too big. Oh, I didn't know that there was a little registered trademark there. So I'm going to scale it down so it's a bit smaller. In fact, I'm going to make it a lot smaller. And I'm going to put it in the top corner here so that there's a nice little Oaks Christian on my screen while I am making my screencast. And I don't actually want it to be this dark, though. I want it to be faded so it's kind of more like a watermark. In order to do that, all you're going to do is go to your image. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my image. Oh, sorry. You're going to right click and go to filters, and I want to make this lighter, so I'm going to add a color correction filter. So I just went to the plus sign here, color correction, hit OK, and now I can adjust the gamma, the contrast, brightness, whatnot, and I'm actually just going to turn the opacity way down, more to something about 15 or so, and hit close. And now I've got this nice faded OC on my screen. It looks much more like a watermark. So you know, repping the school, and it just looks better to have it kind of faded like that as opposed to having it, you know, dark and big and out there. The final thing that I want to show you how to do is if you go to my landing screen again, I have this really cool animated background here. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I'm actually going to go ahead and remove it here, so it shows just my black screen here, and I want to add that animated background. So first thing you're going to need to do is download whatever the background is you'd like to do. So in order to do that, you're going to go to Chrome. You can type in free animated backgrounds, and I went to this link here by Pixabay. It's got, you know, about 100 or so different backgrounds that you can use. I chose this one right here because it's sciencey looking, but you can scroll over them, see what the animation looks like. You know, maybe you're an art teacher and you want it to look like this cool, like paintbrush strokes or something like that. I'm going to go with this one because I quite like it. So you would just click on the one that you like, download it, and go ahead and select the highest resolution and hit download. I already have a copy of this downloaded, so that's why it's showing like this. But once you've got that downloaded, if you want to add that as a source, you're going to go to the plus sign here, and now we want to add a media source because what we just downloaded is an animation, it's a media object. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new one. Media source is a fine title. Hit OK, and then I'm going to browse to wherever that downloaded. It's probably going to show up in your downloads folder like mine did, or I have a folder on my desktop with it pre-downloaded already because I've done this before, and then you would hit open. Now if you want it to continually loop, you're going to have to check this loop box. Otherwise it's just going to run once and then it's going to go away. So I'm going to go ahead and click loop and hit OK, and now it's kind of running here and animating and doing its thing. I want to move it down so that it's behind other things, so I can go ahead and, while I have it highlighted, I can hit the down arrow and move it underneath to whatever layer I want it to go down to. And I actually don't even want it on this screen, I want it on the other screen, so I'm going to go ahead and add it back to my other screen later. So that's how you make your screencasts look a little bit better, add your webcam, upload your videos to YouTube. The final thing I wanted to show you was hotkeys, because they make your life much easier. With hotkeys, you can actually use OBS Studio with it minimized. It doesn't even have to be on your screen, and you can still use it just fine. So let me show you how to do that. You're going to go to File, Settings, and Hotkeys. And hotkeys are like just little keyboard shortcuts that you can use. So specific combinations of keystrokes that will perform commands for you. And when you go here, there's nothing. This will be completely blank. There's not a single hotkey pre-programmed in. So what you can do is, if I want a hotkey to start recording, I can click in that box and I can make the hotkey whatever I want to by pressing that key. So if I want it to be 1 and 2, or if I want it to be like Control 1, for example, I can hold Control and press 1. Now I liked it to be Alt Shift, I quite like. So I'm going to make it Alt Shift to start and stop my recording, and then Alt Enter to pause my recording if I need to pause it for any reason. I also have different scenes set up, and you saw me switching back and forth between scenes. I just have them configured differently for different purposes. And in order to do that, I have 3 scenes. I have my webcam screen, which is my landing screen. So that's my first scene, so I made that Alt 1. Then I have my desktop with the overlay, that's Alt 2. And then the scene that we went and built together just now is Alt 3. So if I want to switch between scenes, all I do is hold Alt and press whichever scene I want to go to. So go ahead and select whatever you like, hit apply and close. Now if I hold Alt and press 1, it's going to go to this landing screen. If I hold Alt and press 2, it's going to go here. If I hold Alt and press 3, it's going to go to the one that we just made together. And since I'm done with this video, the final hotkey that I programmed was Alt Shift to start and stop recording. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any problems or questions about OBS Studio, please go ahead and email, text, call me, whatever it is you'd like to do. I'd love to help you out. Our students this is going to be just as hard for them as it is for us. So I'd really like, all of us to do as good a job as we possibly can in delivering our content to our students. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys when this coronavirus blows over. Alt